We are so thrilled to have our guest with us today. He has been dubbed as Frankie's favorite realtor. I don't take offense because he's truly a beacon of positivity and inspiration to all. His dedication to excellence not only helps Frankie and I, but countless others in their business and personal lives. He's manager of the Iron Key Real Estate Office. He holds over 2 decades of real estate experience. He's Fresno MLS chair and California Association of Realtors director. Let's not forget the dedication that he also holds as a family man to his beautiful wife and daughter, who undoubtedly inspire him to be his best version of himself every day. We're excited to hear from the one who stays ready and already sold it. Please welcome Maurice Gonzales.
All right.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. So did you know that Frankie, like almost every day after we walk out of the office, he says, Maurice is my favorite.
All right.
Did you know that?
No, but and then I'm like, what's Frankie eating for lunch? I'm like, because I want that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell her all the time, like, if I ever needed a realtor to help me buy or sell real estate, you'd be my realtor.
Yeah.
You'd be the person I hired.
He tells me that almost every day.
Yeah.
Well, I've said the line, I'm your realtor's favorite realtor.
Yeah.
That's
there you go.
true.
You should put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. And I mean, quite honest, I've sold a lot of real estate to different agents and brokers across town over the past years. So
let's talk about some of your catchphrases, because obviously they've kind of gone with you everywhere. So how did they come about? Let's talk about Stay Ready first, because it's one of my favorite ones.
Well, that one came about because there was a segment of time where I dealt with a lot of VA buyers, and not that my buyers used that slogan, but a lot of them were always OCD, pretty sharp guys. And I'm like, man, these guys stay ready. And so it kind of just stuck with me in that era. And then I start using it a little bit more, that phrase. And then it just kind of
took on a life of its own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's now out of habit. Like, I don't
Stay ready.
I was just on an appointment, and I told the tenant, because we're talking to the tenant's family, and I told him, well, you need to get pre-approved because you need to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And he was like, okay. So it was fun.
Nice. And then I already sold it.
That one came about just from as you're posting stuff on social media, I thought of that tagline just off of when I'm posting something, like, I already sold it. Like, and then I've gotten calls where like, hey, checking the status. I'm like, well, I already sold it. And so now it's just a mindset. I mean, if you see my property on the market for past 30 days, well, I didn't sell it yet, but definitely it's a mindset at that point.
Yeah, definitely. And
Isn't it crazy, like how, like, because you started 2 decades ago, 2004, you started in real estate, and like social media wasn't a thing. So like obviously you didn't have taglines like in 2004 when you first started, but social media has like ever changed our industry.
I had quotables throughout the years.
Quotables.
My friends can kind of mention some of the lines I've said.
Uh-huh.
I once had one that I'm like, I've been doing this since 1962, and that, like, I wasn't born, but for some reason when we're
that
out
was
and about,
the year.
Yeah, I've been doing this since 1962, and they're like, what the heck? Where'd you come up with that? And I rocked that for some years. Like,
nice.
Yeah,
dude, it's funny, like the things that you think about in the past, which are like kind of like make you chuckle like that. Graceland used to think it was so funny for like, I was 25 for like 15 years. Like people would always ask me like, what's your age? I'm 25. And Grace was like, Frankie, you haven't been 25 for like 10 years. Like, what are you talking about?
There was one morning that he didn't know what year it was. He's like, wait, how old am I? Wait, what year is it? I think it was 27. I'm like, what year are you living in your mind? But yeah, time flies.
I mean, that's how you stay young. You have that mindset that, you're not getting old, and you just keep rocking it. Mm-hmm. And because you have to.
And you were born and raised here in the Fresno area?
Yes.
What hospital?
Fresno Community, off of
wow,
the one off of, I believe, the downtown one.
Divisadero.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
St. Agnes for me. Born and raised here locally also.
Mm-hmm. Well, you had a bit of time that you were kind of raised in the outskirts, Firebaugh. It's like an hour away. But Maurice, you have never lived anywhere else for a period of time?
No, it's just been here.
Wow, that's amazing. So then at what point were you open to the idea of becoming a real estate agent?
In my early 20s, it was a goal. And then at a turning point, it's like, well, I better do it now before I get a little older. I was about 24 where I got my real estate sales license to, dive in.
We were going to do a segment maybe of like what you were before you were a real estate agent. Like me, I was a popcorn girl at a movie theater. Frankie used to work at
burgers at Johnny Rockets and a Best Buy.
Was there anything that you did before real estate?
Yeah, I worked at a lighting store.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
James Ashton Lighting Company.
Yep. That is a local company too, right?
Yeah, right around the corner.
You can't find that. Yeah. And it's still there. And it was there all those years ago, those many, many years ago.
Yeah.
So you sold light fixtures, or what did you do there?
Yeah, well, I started off as a stock boy to managing the store with the owner's daughters. And I learned all the product knowledge and what's needed. And it was kind of fun, helping people out. And then obviously guiding from the employee aspect of what they need to do. So I learned a lot in those, call it a 4-year period. And that job gave me the confidence that as I'm getting older that I can do it. I can make something happen.
So yeah, you've been in real estate longer than Graceland, which is impressive because I don't know very many people that have been buying and selling real estate as long as Graceland has, or helping people buy and sell.
That's because you're a baby.
But when you take a look at the industry now, like what do you think has changed over the years? Like what do you think is the biggest difference between real estate when you started and real estate today?
I think it's within our business in itself is I think we lost connection with I don't know what word to use, but the relationships we have with one another as an association with other agents. Now there's so many agents now, we don't know them by name. We know them just by their email that we see, so we don't know them personally. Where back in the day, you would go to someone's office and deliver an offer, and you'd shake their hand, you'd see them, and then they'd communicate back with you, hey, I'll get a response for you by tomorrow. Now everything's electronically, so you lose that personal connection. So I think that's over time what we've lost. These days, I could tell we're starting to get back to that a little bit, where that communication aspect of things, where everybody needs to talk more versus the text and the email. So.
And did you ever was there a time when you always rode your clients around in your car, and now not so much? Yeah,
back in the early days, someone meet you at the office and you jump in. You jump in the car. Well, you go over what properties you're going to preview, and then you're going to jump in the car and go show, because some of those people, maybe they didn't have a computer at home, because not everybody at the time had computers at home. And then you pull up the MLS, and because they didn't have access to it on their end, and there wasn't the third-party sites that they were searching properties.
That's true.
So at that point, they're coming in the office, you're reviewing everything, narrowing it down, and then heading out. And sometimes it'd be a caravan that'd follow you because maybe they're going to head out somewhere after, but sometimes they're all jumping in the car. Now, I mean, they already know what properties they want to see. They've already mapped it out on their GPS, so you're just meeting them at the property.
And I still have clients that come in from San Diego and San Jose. I have one coming in on Wednesday, and they were asking, as a family, what do you guys like to do? And, Frankie and I, we work a lot, but there were some things that I considered, if you were going to be doing stuff as a family, these are the things that I would recommend. But you, being born, raised here, you know this town like the back of your hand. If somebody was going to come from out of the area and want to do things as maybe a family, what are some of the things that you think you wouldn't know this unless you lived here, but you definitely need to go to this place? Let's say your top 3.
Well, everybody loves food, so that's always the first topic, the eateries. And if it's a certain neighborhood, I'll go ahead and point out hey, there's Manhattan, Bullard and West area, as a go-to spot that people don't think of. It's not a chain restaurant, it's a family-owned restaurant. Mm-hmm. But then if they're willing for a jaunt to get good Italian food, I tell them Mike's Pizzeria, which is on Shields and West, and not too many people travel south if they're buying a property north. And once they find out about that little pocket, that restaurant, they're, it's
What's your favorite thing to eat at the Manhattan and that Italian restaurant, the pizzeria?
Manhattan would be like a steak, and then if I'm going to Mike's Pizzeria, I'm getting a calzone.
Have you ever had Mike's Pizzeria?
Oh yeah, multiple times.
How come I haven't had it?
You've had it, you just don't remember it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is it?
I've definitely
do
brought
you bring
it
me
home.
pizza? Is that why?
Yeah, I brought you
And
pizza.
you get a calzone.
Yeah.
So maybe you need to bring me a calzone.
Yeah, I'm a pizza guy, but I can bring you a calzone.
So what about breakfast spots then for?
Was it? I live in Northwest Fresno, so I'm always favored to the Fresno Breakfast House. It's always jam packed. It's good food, good service. So that's one of the go-tos. And, if they're Northeast Fresno, there's a lot of chain breakfast spots, but if they want kind of a good local eatery, if my whole thing is like local.
Yes.
And it's not on purpose. It's just that's kind of how I navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of that too. I think it's funny that you bring that up when you talk about like just local in general. I think it was one of the big reasons that we decided to move to Iron Key Real Estate when we were taking a look at opportunities and brokerages when we decided to leave Keller Williams. I don't know. I just have this belief that like long term, even the future of real estate, I do believe it's boutique brokerages and it's local. And I know there's a lot of people that are going towards that, automated e-broker where it's more like nationwide blanket and stuff like that. But for me, I really think that there's something to be said for like local business and supporting local business and understanding the engagement that you get from even your leadership, your broker, your sales manager, other agents in the office. I don't feel like you get that from some of these large scope brokerages. And again, I know everyone makes their decision what's best for them, but when I take a look at long term, I think that's the future of the industry in my personal opinion. And so that's kind of one of the biggest reasons that we move that way.
And I think like you were saying, like you take pride in family owned businesses, and so your brother owns and your brother own Iron Key Real Estate. You're the office manager. And so I have never been, and I don't know if Frankie has been, to the Fresno Underground Gardens. That is Shaw and 99 area. Someone just recently told me that they went and they were like pretty surprised, like pleasantly surprised. And I drove by it for years and years because we used to live west of 99 off of Shaw, like maybe a mile and a half away from there. And I would just just drive by it every day and not even think of it because from the street view, it doesn't look like very much. So have you ever been there?
I have not, but my daughter has. My mother-in-law has taken her there. And,
what'd she say?
Oh, no, they love it. Yeah. And it's something I've mentioned to people, but I've disclosed. I'm like, I haven't gone there yet, but
Yeah.
because I'm out running these streets with real estate.
And then I love like the old history, like the historical district Van Ness and Shields, which you were mentioning, like not a lot of people know about that little pocket of like those very kind of like quirky houses. They have their own character. They're much older, by a train track, so you can hear the train, but you also have gazebo gardens. Yeah. Have you been there?
Yeah, and they have the food trucks.
They have the food trucks that go.
I'm a food truck junkie. There's so many food trucks that if I see food trucks parked anywhere, like I'm stopping to see what they have, and if I haven't eaten one yet, like
I'm stalking one food truck specifically right now just because I love, and we forget every day. I'm like, dang it, we missed them. Dang
Me too.
it.
Which one are you stalking?
Gators.
Oh yeah. Well, you've already had Gators though. I'm talking are you stalking any food trucks that you haven't had yet?
No, but Maurice, what are some of your favorite food trucks that you've already tried?
Well, Luigi's, it's Italian food.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know that food truck.
Yeah, he'll go where the was it Fresno Eats or whatever.
Street Eats. Yeah.
Wherever they're posted at, when you look up the calendar, he's there. So whether it's Sierra Vista Mall, River Park, yeah.
What do you like getting from his truck?
Calzone. It's the same similar recipe to Mike's Pizzeria. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maurice is a calzone guy.
I'm learning he likes Italian
food and calzone.
I mean,
so the place that I've been stalking, I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna look it up, but it's this Cuban truck. It's got like Cuban sandwiches. and I've seen it twice, but I've been in a hurry. And the truck itself, it like pops. It's got vibrant colors, and I'm a big fan of Cuban sandwich. I don't know if you ever had it at Mike's Bistro, but they have this Cuban sandwich there, which is really, really good. And so I'm like, dude, I want to try this Cuban food truck, and I want to try this Cuban sandwich. So I will get the name, and I will find it, and I will eat there very soon. But it's the one I've been kind of keeping an eye on.
I think I'm gonna have to hit it up today.
And I think one food, like I guess we can call it quote unquote food truck because it is a truck, but one that I like love whenever they go out of season, I'm always like, no, and then I can't wait till their season starts back up again. But it's Snow Cafe. Have you had Snow Cafe? The shaved ice.
No.
You have not?
They
Oh my
just
gosh.
opened an actual building.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, I'm
by
so
the Save
excited. I
Mart
didn't know
on
that.
Willow and Knees.
Okay, so
Okay.
they have like a more of a, what would you call it? Like that Louisiana, New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans
type.
style snow cones.
They have
so the ice, it's a different kind of texture. It's hard to describe, but they're really, really good.
Fluffy, like fluffy
Okay.
ice.
Yeah, I've had something like that before.
And then they do like a stuffed one where they put like a scoop of vanilla ice cream inside of your concoction, and then they make them just ever so beautifully. So Snow Cafe is like my number one comfort food trucks. Like, have you ever had the comfort food? I think, is it comfort or
the
comfy? Cozy comfort food.
Yeah, Cozy
And that
Cafe or
one
something
is
like that.
all like meaty sandwiches and just
Like patty melts.
tater
kind of
tots,
things, yeah.
like drizzled tater tots,
American.
fully loaded.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
There's
my
that.
go-to.
And
Well, you know what I think is cool, and I think it's funny that we're talking about this, and we'll probably end up going on forever, but anyone who's looking, moving to a new city and you're working with your real estate agent, I think we are like food experts because we spend so much time like
Running
cruising
around,
neighborhoods
Mm-hmm.
and you see new restaurants. Like, I always want to try new stuff. So when I'm in a neighborhood that I've never been before, I'm like, dude, what's to eat around here? And I'm on my phone, I'm looking at Yelp, and I'm trying new stuff. Like, I've tried so much food here locally. It's crazy.
I love in Old Town Clovis, there is the breakfast. What is it called? Clovis Rodeo Cafe. And they have this enchilada omelet for breakfast, and it's huge.
It's so good.
I
But-
want to say I've tried it like years
so
ago.
good. I love their enchilada sauce. It's so good. And they also, have biscuits and gravy and all that stuff. But I love going there for breakfast. That's somewhere local. And then for, I don't know that Huckleberries is everywhere. It is a chain, but a lot of people that come from other places don't typically
Oh,
have
you
a
already got
Huckleberries.
eliminated. You can't bring up Huckleberries when we're talking about local restaurants.
Yeah.
Well, somebody had.
I think
our
you just
San-
haven't eaten yet today.
Our
You're
San
really hungry.
Diego clients came and they had Huckleberries, and they were so sad to learn that it was a chain. Dutch Brothers is popular. Cup of Joy.
Yeah, that's by my house. It's, it's a little
So
go-to.
if you had to choose between the three, because we've had this debate for many years, would you choose Cup of Joy, Dutch Brothers, or Starbucks?
Cup of Joy.
Cup of Joy, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm a Dutch guy. I prefer Dutch Bros.
Israel's over there shaking his head.
Dutch Bros? Yeah, see? There you go. 2 and 2.
I do like the Rebels though, and it sounds like you are a Rebel fan
Oh no!
as well.
I hit up all these spots, and Starbucks is overrated.
Yeah,
Totally.
Starbucks is
But I did
overrated.
have it this morning.
yeah. I mean, it's just
Because it's every
everywhere.
corner, yeah.
Lunch spots, Doghouse Grill, gotta have one of their tri-tip sandwiches. Their chicken sandwiches are actually really good too, and their basket of fries. I would say that's like the number one. If you've never had a Doghouse sandwich here in Fresno, you have to go to Doghouse Grill and try one of those. Is there anywhere else that you think that they should definitely go for lunch if they haven't been there that's local to here?
Don Pepe's.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Don
That's another
Pepe's.
I love the shrimp and fish tacos at
Yeah.
Don Pepe's. Those are like my favorite. The spicy fish tacos, so
And you
good.
get a spicy beer, and they put a shrimp in it. It's pretty bon.
Yeah. All of
Yeah.
them. Blackstone
Yeah,
Blackstone.
Blackstone and Gettysburg's definitely a hit. But
is the one. The one that's just up the street now is really good too, though. I've eaten there a couple times. Yeah.
Where else? Anything else?
Well, the other day I posted on Facebook, "What's your favorite taco spot?" And everybody had a ton. So I'm literally this coming month we're gonna go through each. When I'm in neighborhoods, I'm gonna stop at those spots and
Did
try
you
it.
ever go to Madera? Right up the road. It's like a 25. I think I know. Actually, Brandon, I think referred it to me. It's a yellow building.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's where I go all the time. So
That's
the
amazing.
problem is I
You're
favor
comparing it
that
to
one, and so I don't try all the other spots
Yeah.
around town in Madera. But yeah.
I'm a big menudo guy, so I try to find the best menudo in town.
And he does like that one, the menudo at that one.
Yeah, it's
so
really good.
let's go back to food trucks. We have Gazebo Gardens. We have the Fresno.
Luigi's.
No, the where you can go to find like the congregation.
Fresno Street Eats.
Yeah, Fresno Street Eats.
Yeah, it's a social media page that tells you where
Enzo's
they're at.
Table. That one is on Willow and
Yeah, but Enzo's Table's under construction right now, so they are still there occasionally, but it's not as packed as it
no,
used
but they're
to be.
moving. Are they like just moving?
They're right across the street for now, but they'll eventually, migrate
Gators.
back.
Gators is on let's see, Copper and Friant. You can.
It's a
find
smash
on-
burger spot. It's pretty
Ooh,
good.
and
They're
their
there a couple days a
sauce
week.
is amazing. And they had a very limited menu, but now they're kind of like expanding it. But basically, their wings and their burgers have this amazing sauce. And inside their smash burger, they have the onion rings. And those burgers are so good. I think we're gonna have to go get one after this.
We're gonna no. I mean, yeah. Grayson hasn't eaten today, as you can tell, so she will probably stay on the topic of food for the rest of this. But
Things to do with your family.
So no, let's go back to real estate a little bit. I want to bring it back because initially when you got into the business, realtor focused on helping people buy and sell real estate, and you've had a lengthy journey doing a lot of different things. So now you find yourself in a position where you're still helping people buy and sell real estate, but you're a sales manager for the office here locally, so you're working with agents, you're a chair on the MLS board, and you're doing things. I mean, you were back east, I think, recently, and down south, and a lot of travel. So how do you juggle all those things, and what has you involved?
Well, my brother Brandon's always been involved with leadership, and this go around for the leadership aspect, I definitely wanted to contribute in our industry, but what helps me out is the back end support of my wife. So, she holds it down when I'm gone, running around, and so that makes life a lot easier. She works with me, so.
And let's talk about that, because your wife just recently got into real estate.
Yeah.
Another husband and wife team here locally, and it presents a new set of challenges, which we talk about regularly as we've been doing it for a while now. So what has that transition been like?
I have a contract that says I'm always right, so that helped me out from the get-go. It's really learning her flow, and then she has to understand my daily flow. And at this point, she kind of has an idea of how I do my day-to-day now, where she knows okay, I have them at this time frame to ask questions, figure out what needs to happen. And then I understand now her strengths and what she likes to do. So then we can go ahead and guide her in whatever part of our transaction that she wants to do.
Yeah, and I love the approach that she's taken to her real estate business, and just having the opportunity to kind of talk to her and then see your business the way that it goes. And I think one of the things that we didn't learn right away, that I try and explain to people that are working with their significant other, is you're not the same individual, and you're going to approach business differently. And I may not do it the same way that she does it, but we will get the same result if you just trust that I kind of know what I'm doing. And I love the fact that she's kind of become her own person in real estate, and you again are doing business the way that you do business. And I think it just creates an environment where you can have success for the both of you guys.
Yeah, and I want her to continue to skill up, be knowledgeable, and she has been. And with all the agents in the office, it's like having that confidence every year, just building on it, and more skills over the years. You just become more confident. Mm-hmm. So.
Awesome. And so what has it been like working in leadership with the MLS, with the changes that we're undertaking this year? I'm sure it's probably more involved than it's normally been.
Yeah. So I mean, every year there's a set of challenges within our industry. This one is a big one. I mean, really, you're taking it day by day or week by week, because the changes that are about to happen, and we're all going to have to adapt across the country. And so it's really not getting overwhelmed by it, and knowing that, hey, you know what, we've had challenges besides real estate, with life, and that we got over those. And so this is just another one. And so again, taking it day by day. And I think as an industry, we're just going to have to get better, and this will make us get better. And if you don't want to get better, then you'll just be out.
What do you think is going to be the biggest obstacle for realtors, and what do you think is going to be the biggest obstacle for buyers in the current environment with the changes, like initially, like the biggest kind of like
I
shell
think
shock?
I think for agents is the communication aspect. Some don't have the skills on how to communicate with others as well, so they're going to have to get better with that. And then for the consumer is working with the right person to educate them on the process of what needs to happen. And I mean, this is even now, and then we have the changes, so it's even more important that you work with the right agent to educate you on and guide you through this whole process.
And you've done a lot of that mentorship.
Oh yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. So I enjoy helping agents. I enjoy helping buyers and sellers and figuring out like how we're going to solve your challenge here. So it's been fun. I mean, from solving the problem. And so here we are as an industry with this new problem, and we're going to have to navigate the waters. And there's people that are super stressed out, and it's like, well, we're just going to have to get at it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the Fresno market over the next 12 to 18 months? I know there's been a lot of conversation and talk about the lack of inventory, and I don't blame people, right? You have a lot of people that purchase properties that are at 2.5%, 3.5% interest rates. Payments are super low because of the time that they purchase property or refinance property. And you still have a large pool of people who want to buy homes, but outside of new construction, there's just it's slow turnover these days. What do you see in the near future? And, how are you trying to prepare both buyers and sellers for, what's next?
We have a lack of inventory in California, so there's always going to be that demand. We're not going to build fast enough. Our populations continue to grow unless everybody just stops having kids, right? So at this point, it is going to get more expensive. Fresno is still affordable. So people that understand the different markets in California, they realize, oh, Fresno's affordable, I better jump in. Now, if you come from a bigger city like in LA or a Bay Area, you realize like how expensive it is. So you have a different mindset than if you're a local person, because there are two professionals that make great money that live in LA that cannot buy a house. They can buy a house, but it happens to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in a neighborhood that's really might be uncomfortable for them. So they got pushed out of the market. And so here we're probably going to see the same thing as the years go on, that it's going to take the two big incomes to make it happen. And the person who came in the market in these recent years, well, they're your neighbor. They're sitting golden because they bought their house for $400,000, whereas that guy is buying the house for $800,000. I mean, that's the nature of the beast.
And it's funny that you bring that up. I was listening to Joe Rogan, and if Joe Rogan ever chimes in, I'll be on your podcast if you ever want. But he was saying that the average sale price on a house in California is coming up on $1 million average sale price, and that the average income right now in California is about $60,000. So when you put that into perspective, I mean, at some point something's going to have to give. Or to your point, you need 2, 3, sometimes like a whole family to purchase a house in some of these markets just based on what the average sale price is. And it's like, my goodness, it's a crazy environment that we work in. A lot of people in different states, they all have their own different challenges. But I think when you talk about like affordability and financeability here, I think we're in for an interesting couple of years, in my opinion.
Yeah, and for Fresno or Central Valley, the way our neighborhoods are is like, well, we're not on top of each other. We can find parking. In these bigger cities, there's no parking. I mean, like, so we haven't felt what they feel. I mean, literally they're fighting for parking spots just to get into their personal residence because there's not enough parking in that neighborhood. So it's pretty crazy out there.
And people are, here talking about how high our rents are. But I was literally just talking to someone whose daughter was considering moving closer, but then decided that she needed to stay there because it was a divorce situation and she needed to be close to the husband in consideration of the kids going back and forth. So she decided to stay over there, and her rent is $7,000 per month for where she's living and what she's living in. And people complain about the $2,000 here. I have the person that's coming in on Wednesday, like I told you, they're paying $3,200 rent where they are, and they're coming here, and they already said for a house that we own, we're comfortable paying $3,800, $3,500, and they were approved to up to $750. So I'm having to remind them, like, going at $600 right now at today's rate is going to make you a little closer to $4,000 a month. Just keeping it in perspective. Remember, you wanted to be at $3,800 or $3,500, but they're so used to paying the $3,200. They're like, if I have to pay a few more to get a house that I love in an area that I'm going to love even more, then I'm willing to go up to $4,500, and so it's just crazy that people who are local to here are like, rents are just crazy, but then you have people who have been paying really high rents in these other markets who are still coming to Fresno. So I don't see any indications that our market is maybe going to take a turn, like, for people who are timing the market.
It's not.
We're like so affordable. We're not quote unquote recession proof, but what we see from a mile away, in San Diego and Los Angeles and Bay Area, like, those markets are indicating what our market is going to do. And granted, we still have the inventory in new homes.
Yeah, I think we'll continue to get an influx of people from surrounding communities. I mean, I think one thing that COVID taught a lot of people is there's a lot of jobs and professions out there that you can still have a ton of success working remotely. And I think with more people doing that and more employers giving you an opportunity to spend less days in the office, I think you're just seeing a lot of people move to more affordable places. And to your point, I mean, for what I could buy for $800,000 in like a San Jose or, LA area versus what I can get for $800,000 here in the Central Valley, I mean, it's appealing to people. So I think prices here locally are going to hold firm, if not continue to increase. But, that doesn't necessarily mean that incomes for local people are going to increase as quickly. You're going to just see, I think, a lot more of influx from outlying areas.
Yeah, and it's just it's no fun to say. It's just going to get more expensive. I mean, I don't like it, and it's like it pushes some people out of the market, and they have good credit, they have the money, and at that point, they can't do it. And we're going to see that more and more as the prices go up. But again, some of those individuals had the ability at a certain point. They didn't pull the trigger. So then they end up getting pushed out of the market because they hesitated. And, that's something they have to deal with.
And I always say the benefit of buying now, even with the rates higher than what they were years ago, is that you have the option in the future where if the interest rates do drop, you can refinance into that lower rate. And if they don't drop, then you just stay where you are, hold your property a little bit longer, wait till you have good equity gains and decide what you want to do at that point. But you won't be paying somebody else's mortgage by paying 100% in rental amounts for somebody else's mortgage that they own, getting them their equity, So I always say, like Frankie his one-liner that I always say is like, there's never a wrong time to buy real estate, but there's always a right time to sell real estate. And I kind of, say the same message, in that the ones who buy now have the benefit of refinancing later if they're uncomfortable, but you use it as a trading card,
Yeah, and she got it pretty spot on. It was pretty close, but I'm always like, there's definitely never a wrong time to buy real estate under the right circumstances, because I think sometimes people bite off a little bit more than they can chew, or they don't stay disciplined with the payment that they like to stay with. But yeah, it's always the right time to buy real estate under the right circumstances. There are definitely wrong times to sell real estate. And I think sometimes people jump the gun and, like to Grayson's point, maybe you hold it a little bit longer. Maybe you use it as a rental. Maybe you leverage that property a little bit longer than you anticipated. But I definitely think that conversation for me is a little bit more... there's a lot more variables when I'm talking to someone about selling a property than there is when I'm talking to someone about buying real estate. I think it's really simple. What do you qualify for? What's the payment that you're comfortable with? I understand you qualify for this, but we need to focus here. And if we can find a property that you're happy with, that you can see yourself living in for however many years you plan on it, and this payment is super comfortable, then yeah, we should move forward. Kind of a thing.
Is there more responsibility than you thought that there would be with having the California Association of Realtors director position?
No, it's just data overload, listening to all these different subject matters. I mean, but at the same time, we're reading about these subject matters, and it's just now we're just hearing it firsthand. So I think that's the difference. And then working with my brother over the years, he was always giving us what was going on all the time with government affairs and new rules changing. So I always felt like, well, we're ahead of the game. We know what's going on, before everybody registers that, that law changed or that guideline changed. I'm like, well, we knew about that.
And I love that you and Brandon, and we did invite Brandon to be on an episode in the future as well, but I love that you guys feed off of each other's energy in that sense, where since he's a fact finder and, knows what truly is going on, the resources of the information that he's receiving the input from, and you are the same way, and you guys may do it on different levels. Like I think there was something that I had asked you about. I went into your office and I was like, oh, this person owns this or whatever, and you went through the back end of tax records and did like a reverse search, and you're like, oh yeah, because that person is associated with this. You looked up like their agent who helped them before, and you're like, and that person does a bunch of this, so that's why they're working together, and like you were able to put all those puzzle pieces together. And Brandon does it in the same sense, except more, I would say, so like on the front end, if I go in and I ask him something and he's like, wait, who is this person? And he's like, is this how you spell their name? Is it Cheryl with one L or two L?
Yeah.
And both of you guys are such anytime I'm talking to you guys go in and find the stuff. I think Brandon was not in front of his computer one time, and he started getting out his phone, and I see his fingers going. I'm like, don't tell me when you don't have your computer, you also do fact finding on your phone. He's like, oh, all the time, And so I just love that about both of you guys, and I think that's the most important thing, like for realtors who really don't have anybody in their corner, because you hear all this stuff on social media about, like other brokerages or brokerage types that you get to have your own office and you can be on the corner and like there's nobody really managing you and it's self-managed or whatever. But also that means that you're hanging out there by yourself with nobody in your corner, versus like what Frankie was saying about boutique brokerages. Like that's where the future is, because I feel like that's a lot of strength, right? Like if I'm going to go to a battlefield, like in an industry that's having like major changes, I would want Maurice and Brandon Gonzales in my corners backing me up if I ever had trouble. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want to go to the battlefield alone in an empty, like with nobody behind me, like,
Israel, can you clip that last like 5 to 7 minutes? I'm going to use that for To Be Frank here in the next.
Oh my God.
So what was the question, babe?
So there wasn't really a question. I was just complimenting him and Brandon in being such great fact finders and pulling. They complement each other in the sense that Maurice does it like normally on the back end to puzzle piece like details together on the back end that are not surface value, versus Brandon researches the surface value of things that you're talking to them about. So them combined together is like a powerhouse brokerage that like if I'm going to go to the battlefield, this is who I want behind me. This is one of the. God,
well, when she was going through that explanation, it did bring up a question that I had. So I know we talk about married couples and working together, but you've worked with your brother for a long period of time now. What is that dynamic like? Is it like what people see on TV with like Selling Sunset, like we're working with your brother, or is it, how would you describe it?
Believe it or not, we flow pretty well. There might be in the year one instance where button heads on something. Well, maybe 3, but like for the most part, it's not like every week there's something that we're dealing with that we don't agree upon, because I get his perspective and he gets mine on subject matters. And usually we're on the same page about whatever needs to be done. But we don't get into it like what you would think. Now, when we were younger, that was a whole different story. We butted heads and had our arguments. But now it's not like that. I think we understand each other at a certain level where we know, okay, let's not get mad
you
at
respect each other, right? Because like you have had more time in the industry, but you respect his like efforts and always being like you were saying, like in leadership roles.
Yeah, he's super knowledgeable. Yeah, and he gets it. And so then there's times where I want to be right, and then he wants to be right, and it's like,
and sometimes you're both right. You know what I mean? Like
way.
Sometimes you're either both wrong or both right. Like there is no right and wrong. Like sometimes people just have different perspectives, and I think that's one thing that we learned working together for so long, we have disagreements almost every single day. Like,
you see most of them, so yeah, you can relate. You can know exactly what she's talking about.
We have disagreements on almost like a lot of things, and it's so funny because I always tell you about like you being a Cancer and your wife is an Aries, and like if you look up the compatibility of those two signs, it's like a big warning sign, like do not get these two together. But I was telling him like there's things that I appreciate so much about him, which I'm sure your wife feels the same way about you, that like his thought processes and attention to details. Like I'm very detail oriented in some ways, but there are ways that he is, which I am not. And I think that it takes like such a beautiful mind or perspective. And so, yeah, I always make fun of you and your wife because you guys have the same dynamic. She's also an Aries, very free, open to a lot of things. And then you have your data holders that want to know black and white numbers and have facts and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So it's a lot of learning. I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think as long as we can acknowledge that, we're good. Our wives are fantastic.
Like, for example, this specific episode, I told him it was going to be more relaxed, and he told me he didn't want to have like everything geared towards real estate. And so here I was taking it to like a fun, like family, let's do family oriented stuff. And
no, I was cool with being.
He's like, oh, but I'm going to go back to real estate.
Yeah, I was cool with being relaxed, but I just thought we were so focused on food. Like I was getting super hungry. I haven't eaten yet.
No,
and Maurice is like, I'm not sure how many more food trucks I can talk about.
No, so like
I can talk about.
So
food
we didn't go to
right,
like
so no,
farmers market at River Park.
All right, so we'll go back to fun. We're gonna play like quick fire questions with Maurice.
Okay.
Maurice, we're gonna put you on the hot spot,
Uh-huh.
and we're just gonna ask random questions, and then we'll just kind of see where this goes.
All right.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Do you
All right,
see?
let's rock.
Like I had a plan.
All
This
right,
always happens.
We're back on plan. Go ahead, Grayson. First
No,
question.
we're not, because this was not part of the plan. I don't even have questions. You're the one who said you're
All
going
right,
to fire
all
off
right.
questions.
Favorite taco meat and tacos.
Asada. Without a doubt. Yeah.
Favorite movie of all time.
Man, I'm so old now that I can't even remember some of these movies. Because now it's all the Disney movies I get to watch with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Growing up, I liked. Do you remember Strange Brew?
No.
Yeah,
It's about a brewery.
vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
Strange
It's in
Brew?
the 80s. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I'm going to have to watch it.
Yeah, it was a comedy.
I love 80s movies.
Yeah, so that's an old classic. So
All right, I'll do a couple Italian things. Lasagna or spaghetti.
lasagna,
Favorite toppings on a pizza.
pepperoni, mushroom, sausage.
My
Wow.
man, dude. See?
That is almost his
identical
order.
to mine.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just add Canadian bacon to that.
Oh, I'm down for that too.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Does pineapple
fresh-
belong on a pizza?
It doesn't, but I don't mind it if it's in front of me. I'll just sample it, but like it technically doesn't. I don't. Yeah, but
Favorite season of the year.
summer.
Do you play golf for the game or the beer?
The beer. and I got to play with some good golfers, so it's helped me step up my game. And it also is mentally, it helps you kind of have discussions about life as you're playing, and it's kind of helps your mental as well.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Wild Waters Adventure?
Years ago.
Was it called Clovis Lakes? He called it Clovis Lakes.
Yeah, well,
Earlier today.
it was when I was a kid. and
Yeah,
then
that's
it
what I told her.
changed to Wild Waters.
Uh-huh.
But for like a long time, it was like, oh, Clovis Lakes. And it's like it's been Wild Waters.
Yeah.
for like,
Her and my son are like, you mean Wild Waters? I'm like, no, I mean Clovis Lakes. When
And
I
we're
went there, it was
"Why?"
Clovis
And then
Lakes.
he's like, Uriah, what is the name of the place that you went to with your with your school that had the water park? And he's like, Wild Waters. I'm like, yeah. So the one over by 99, that one is
Island
Water Park.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
I haven't either.
I mean, I think the fact that we have spots like that is great for the community because the kids have a place to go and have fun.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of parks that have water like coming up from the ground and doing like fun things that are free. And I feel like a lot of families tend to go to there because there's not like
Yeah, that's quick, easy fun. Like, hey, I'm going to go out there for an hour and then head back home. But if it's a day of fun with the family, I mean, the water parks are always awesome for kids.
Oh my god!
If you're at the ocean, how far in the water are you getting?
I would say these days to the waist, and that's about it. Like we're not going any.
You're a
further.
braver man than me. I'm like ankle deep, if that, maybe toe deep for me.
If you were a potato, how would you like to be cooked?
Twice baked.
Favorite non-sports move?
Icky shuffle. I don't.
Dinner with any celebrity, dead or alive?
50 Cent.
Kendrick or Drake?
Why you gotta ask me that?
These are Israel
Let's go.
questions.
I gotta represent the West Coast. We're gonna go with Kendrick.
Yep.
All right, before we go to the next question, if you're headed to a listing appointment, what genre of music's on your radio?
I listen to rap.
Favorite
Music.
rap artist? 50 Cent still?
50 Cent. I mean, these days. I mean, Dr. Dre would have been the one years back, but 50 Cent still, yeah, he has the right tracks.
3 things you're taking to a deserted island with you.
My wife, food, and water.
Okay. I was thinking the wife.
I can't be left alone.
If you could eat one thing all day, every day, what would it be?
Calzones? What are you talking about?
I was thinking.
No, it'd be tacos.
Oh my gosh, Israel. If you were a stripper, what would your stripper name be?
It would be there's a saying when where you're like what street did you grow up on, and then there's something else. I forget what it was, but man, Juice Man. I don't know.
Ooh,
Juice Man.
He's
That's
the
a
Juice
good one.
Man.
That's a good. Oh my god.
So random.
Mountains or ocean?
Ocean.
Favorite place to vacation?
For these days, just because I have a little one, it's nice to go to Central Coast because it's easy, fun. It's the beach, and there's plenty of things to do.
And she does dance,
She does dance.
like in a big way. Competes.
Yeah, like she's practicing 5 days a week, maybe 6.
Wow.
And they're going to competition tomorrow. We fly out.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're at a competition as we speak right now. Well, not a competition; it's a recital. But yeah,
Where's the competition at?
Las Vegas.
Cool.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah,
We'll go to Vegas.
He loves Vegas.
It's my favorite place to
He's
gonna
vacation.
be
That's
doing
my
a
pick
competition.
right
I'll
there.
be adulting.
Yeah.
So, if you're with the family and you have to go to Disneyland, how long can you be in Disneyland before you say I've had enough of this shit?
2 days at the park. 2 days at the park.
2 days?
Yeah, one.
Oh, you're my hero.
Yeah,
I can make it like 3 hours.
No, I mean it. I forgot how many miles that we did in a day.
16.
One day. It was
Oh,
unreal.
actually, 16 is not that much.
my feet, my legs hurt. Like at the end of the day, my feet would just, and I was wearing good tennis shoes. So yeah,
Oh my
but that's because
gosh.
we went from open to close. We did one break where we went back to the hotel. But yeah,
How often do you go to Disneyland?
well, we were there for competition last month, but we didn't go in the park because it's just competition. But I'd say these last couple times, so it's maybe once a year, but it's not consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So
Favorite brand of beer?
these days, Modelo.
Nice. If you're going to take a shot of one liquor, what's it going to be?
Let's go tequila.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
That's why we're friends.
What about you? If you guys were taking tequila shots or shots, what would-
Tequila, for sure.
Okay, cool. We're
Yeah.
good. We got liquor store right there.
Right.
We got tequila probably back there and probably over there too.
I had some in my.
Favorite dessert?
Well, just in general, it's ice cream. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then it just whatever toppings or whatever, but ice cream. Yeah. Over pie, over
Who's your favorite realtor?
my wife.
Oh.
See, you just got me in trouble again. Not only does she get mad at me because I tell her you're my favorite realtor all the time, then you come on here and say your wife.
I definitely don't get mad. I'm just like, hello. Hello, I'm a realtor too.
Okay, if I had to pick somebody else,
Not your wife. Who would it be?
Man,
You already got the brownie points for the day.
who would I? Man, that's a tough one because there's a lot of good agents that I've worked with, like our friends and stuff.
Somebody that you think is a ninja. Like I know right off the top of my head, like I know who my realtor
Who's yours?
is. You know who mine is.
Who's yours? I know.
I say all the time, Israel. Do you know? Can you remember? I say it all the time.
I know who it is, but say it. Go ahead.
Sarah Hedrick.
Yeah, Sarah Hedrick is her favorite realtor.
My buddy Aram, if I had to pick someone outside of our office, because he's OCD and I know he would write it up and I wouldn't have to tell him anything else and I can just go about my business. So, yeah.
Your favorite exercise in the gym?
Well, I would say it's the bench press right now. I can't do curls as like I used to as much because hurt my arm. But so the bench press. Can't squat worth a crap, but
yeah, no one likes leg day.
Yeah, I did legs today, so
that a boy.
Boom, got it in.
Got to do what you don't like doing sometimes.
Were we on time, Israel?
42.
Oh, we're good. You got some questions for us? Give you a chance to return fire.
So for you guys, what do you see your business like going into this coming year? Do you see it continue to grow? Do you want it just to maintain? What are your goals and thoughts? Grow.
Yeah, I think there's always this level of growth mindset with me, and I think Grayson's kind of the same way. Like I'm never content, and my real estate goal is the same every single year. And people who've known me long enough know like it's to help as many people buy and sell real estate as I physically possibly can at the highest level of service. And I think I go through every year at the end of the year saying I probably could have helped more people this year. Like I've never gone to a point where like, man, that was like too much, or I think I'm reaching like the max amount there. So I think it's more so to like diversify our book of business and find ways to have more opportunities to help people buy and sell and have more conversations. And I think a lot of that, to Grayson's point, when we talk about growing, is just coming down, like find ways to be out there more so people know who we are. I think that's one of the reasons we even started this podcast is we're so busy with work, but we want people to understand who we are as individuals and people. And maybe someone out there tuning in will be like, oh yeah, I like these people. They're really cool. Or like, I resonate with that and I'd like them to help me. So,
I think it's just for transparency, right? Because we know so many of our, like even Frankie, I met him through business relationships. My best friend, business relationship. All my friends all came from real estate. So it's like if people haven't had a chance to work with me but want to get to know me, how can they do that? Because I'm not out rubbing elbows. I'm not at networking events. I'm not doing a ton of things where people have access to me. So it's like, how can they get to know us a little bit better if they don't have a chance to work with us?
Yeah, because we would like to help more people, but then you get involved in your transactions. You have 5 kids at home, and to her point, like, yeah, we're not kind of out moving and shaking in circles, but how do you get the opportunity to get in front of more people? So I think that's what we're looking at in the next 12 to 18 months. Like, how can we just get more outside of our comfort zone to find more people that we can help, that we know we're available for?
Yeah, I mean, I think any business owner has to have that growth mindset, because otherwise you will just get complacent and then potentially die.
Yeah.
I kind of knew the answer to that one, because Graceland and I have talked like that. We repeat this flow of business every year. We're competing with ourselves to keep on going, keep on doing it. And I mean, I think we're all wired up that way. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we have these goals and we're going after it, and then we hit it, and then we go hit another goal. I mean, it's
and it's the way that you stay sharp, right? Like I feel like anyone like who's perfecting their craft, like if someone is going to be a professional baseball player, like you need the at bats, or you need throw the pitches at the mound, like you need those repetitions. And I think it's the same way in real estate. Like I need to be involved in transactions. I need to be out there helping people buy and sell real estate because I need the most up-to-date information, and there's no better way to be a very good agent for your clients than to be out there helping people buy and sell real estate. And I just feel like every single transaction that I do every year makes me that much better to helping people, and every error that comes up or every mistake that happens or every success story that happens makes me better at what I'm doing. And the only way I feel to be great is to be consistent.
Yeah, I was listening to Sean Cardoza. He has the Real Cop mentorship that he has.
Oh yeah.
It's like the coaching program. And he was talking about, and I loved how he said it. I'm probably not going to do it justice, but he basically said, like, we have all been given an opportunity to be in the circles or the environment or given the opportunities. And it's like God has presented you with an opportunity to give yourself in these different manners, and who are you to question it instead of just go with it because it's his plan for you, you know? And it's he's presenting you with these options to like either help somebody buy or sell, or help somebody expand their business or grow in all these different avenues, and you should not question it. You should just open yourself up to it, because that is opening it up to your future. Like, you don't know where your future will go. But if you keep doors closed and you keep saying, I'm content with what I'm doing, I'm happy, I just want to keep it steady, then you're not going to see your full potential, because you're limiting yourself when God's giving you all these opportunities.
Oh yeah. And that, I've seen that over the years, someone who has the potential, but they didn't believe it in themselves. And you can't turn on that switch. They have to turn it on for themselves.
Yeah.
I have another question for you guys. If you were to buy a vacation rental second home, where would it be?
No budget or
no budget. Like
Okay.
you've got.
I've got unlimited
Yeah.
money at my disposal.
You got Bezo.
Cayucas, I think.
Yeah.
Bezo
Cayucas.
Okay.
Our favorite place.
Even though supposedly it's going to be underwater in like the next 30 years.
Sometime in the future, yeah. But
No, we're going to turn the water into energy later on.
yeah, no, that's actually that's like my happy place outside of like home with the kids.
I feel like it was more quaint before people started learning about it. And so like, going on the weekend, like when it gets hot here in Fresno, you can go to like Pismo and Cayucas, and it's very touristy. Whereas before, like when we first learned about it, it was more like homey. There wouldn't be a ton of people walking the streets.
Yeah. And it's going to continue to be that way because of our population. I mean, there's only so many beaches. So
Yeah.
boom. And then it's just going to get more expensive to be out there. I know that's one of my favorite spots. We had rented a house right at the end of the street, and we were able, when the water for the bridge was low, walk underneath the bridge to go to the sand. And then if we need to go to the bathroom, walk right back to the house. It was like totally cool. When the water was higher, because we rented there again, we had to just walk across the street. But the traffic's slow there, so you can totally just walk. You didn't have to go up to a crosswalk and cut across. So.
And based on like things that I've seen like online and places like I'd like to go that I've never been, if I were going to do another Airbnb, it'd probably be Joshua Tree.
Yeah, I mean, we
There's
haven't
some
ever
cool
been.
houses that have been built out there.
Yeah.
When I watched them on YouTube.
Yeah,
That
I know.
would be a
I
cool,
totally would like to go.
I'm gonna send you guys my YouTube videos of the houses I would pick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
send
have
them.
them saved.
No, I
You're-
just watch them.
Yeah, you're my favorite person to get video links from, because you send great
Yes.
stuff on a regular basis that never fails to make me laugh.
My wife thinks I'm weird about that, but it's like my new form of communication.
Yeah, don't stop. It's
So
great.
birth rates, I was just interested because you had said this a couple of times during this episode, and I was like, I wonder what the actual data is behind it. And you've said like people are going to keep having kids, like population is going to continue to grow. And I was wondering what birth rate was in California versus death rate. And the deaths are 6.9 deaths per 1,000 population, and the births are 12.4 births for every 1,000. So they're almost 2 times.
double
Double
the people.
Double birth rate.
Yeah, and there's
Versus
another
death rate.
thing that, and I'll just briefly touch on it because it'll get someone just to think. Is there's been migration from the south of the border into California, so those people are gonna work, they're gonna make money, they're gonna rent they're gonna have kids. Their kids are gonna get educated, have professions, buy homes. There's gonna be this new population that the census is unaccounted for. That we're gonna have that data later, and then we're gonna realize, whoa, these past years our population grew more than what we thought, because now we have the data.
Yeah.
So just giving you guys all a heads up.
And it's saying that it's been steadily increasing over the past few years. In 2019, California had the largest number of immigrants of any state in the country, with over 10 million foreign-born residents.
Okay.
The rate of immigration into California has been driven by factors such as job opportunities, family reunification, and political asylum.
Yeah,
all that stuff that you just talked
that's
about.
And that's right
Crazy.
now what's they know of. There's all the other numbers of unaccounted for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, they're going to, as everybody moves into California, they're going to obtain jobs, make money, rent, buy, and it's just going to.
If you were ever going to move out of California, where would you go?
Texas. Everything's
Texas.
bigger.
That's the common answer.
Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas. My dad's from Texas. I heard there's Dallas Cowboys in
Thanks
Texas.
to Sean Cardoza, I'd probably move to Idaho.
And the other thing too is there was an article that just came out about all the people that were leaving to Florida and Texas and all these areas. They went there,
And now they wanna come back.
and now they're coming back. So
Yeah,
there was-
no, I've totally heard about that. And then those certain cities that people moved into, the values had their gains, and then now they're kind of shrinking down. Well, because California is desirable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to, I mean, it's expensive, but I'm going to stay.
Yeah,
But
I'm
we
a
don't have-
California kid.
Yeah,
at this
he
point.
hates like hearing the stories of these massive like storms that come into different areas, rain and like
I tell Grayson all the time, I can live with my earthquakes. Don't put me in tornado country. Don't put me in hurricane country. Like, I'm used to my natural disaster. I'm used to my earthquakes, so I'll
or like
stay
being
where I know.
snowed in. Like people
Yeah.
can't leave their houses
Oh,
for
yeah,
weeks
you can
because they're
freeze.
snowed
Yeah.
in.
I'm cool off
Or
of all
like
that.
you see
Your
these-
Tesla has no power because it's frozen.
Yeah.
And then you see these like cars driving on these mountainous areas, and then they're like sliding off the corners and ramming into each other one after the other and all this crazy stuff. It's like we don't have crazy weather. We have like 5 rainy days
Yeah.
Yeah.
throughout the year.
No, my brother lived in North Dakota, my brother
Uh-huh.
Alex,
Mhm.
and that's no joke. When it's below zero,
Yeah.
icy roads, he's like talking to me. He's like, yeah, waiting for a tow truck. My truck's on the side of the road. It's a good driver. It's just icy roads.
Mm-hmm. So if people want to work with you,
Where do they find you?
where do they find you?
You can, well, as of right now, you can Google Maurice Gonzales and you can find all
It's true.
the profile pages.
That's
'cause
true.
I'm the only Maurice Gonzales in real estate.
homes.com.
Gonzales with an S.
Gonzales with an S.
Yeah.
Yes.
Israel got it wrong.
And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Maurice Gonzales on Instagram. You'll get to, I put clips of what I'm doing throughout the week once in a while, and it's usually my little one-liners, so you get a sense that I'm serious about what I do for a living, but like I'm a real person.
Yeah. Maurice is a must follow. Anyone who's tuning into this, tell your friends, tell your family. Like, if you want a good follow on social media, Maurice is a good follow.
Yeah, and some of the one-liners you've had to watch previous stories to understand what it meant.
Yeah.
So sometimes people don't get,
like the flame.
yeah, or the Starbucks overrated. If you've heard it before, you probably get it, but if not, you're going, well, duh, it's overrated.
Yeah.
If I were going to be good in social media, I'd want to be more like Maurice when I grew up. I just don't invest the time in social media
Yeah,
yet.
maybe I'll start dancing or rapping later. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
No, please don't start rapping. I think we've got enough of that going
We
on.
have so many singers and
We have
rappers
so many
in our
rappers.
industry. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
the
just
real
going
estate
to be a
industry
real
right now.
estate agent with my dad jokes. I'll keep it
Seriously.
that way.
yes, I love that.
Yes,
Thank you
please.
so much for coming on and spending time with us today.
We appreciate you taking the time, as always.
and for everything that you do for our office,
Let's do it.
for being
Yeah.
you.
And for all you guys that don't know, stay ready.